All right, lesson 3-1 for pre-algebra. Lesson 3-1 for pre-algebra. Okay, so we are on page 121, fractions and decimals. Okay, so we have a few new vocab terms. So we have a terminating decimal. So if division ends or terminates when the remainder is 0, the decimal is a terminating decimal. Okay, so let's try an example where we are writing a fraction as a terminating decimal. So example 1. Example number 1, we have write 7/8 as a decimal. Write 7/8 as a decimal. Madeline, how would I write 7/8 as a decimal? Yeah. Yep. Put a 0.0 right there. Put my decimal right there. So how many times does 8 go into 70, Madeline? So 8 times 6 is going to be 48. It's going to be bigger than that. Eight times 7 would be 56. What's 8 times 8?
9.
So 8 times 9 would be 72. So it'd be over by 2. It'd be 8. It'd be 8. So 8 times 8, that's 64. 8 times 8 is 64. So 70 minus 64 is going to be 6. So to find this, I'm going to need to add another 0. So add a 0 here. Oh, whoops, what am I doing? Getting ahead of myself. Okay, so extend this, bring down my 0. How many times does 8 go into 60, Logan? Yeah, 7 times. Yep. 8 times 7, and that's going to be 56. Times 7 is 56. So I'm going to have a remainder of 4 there. 4. Fit it right there. Add another 0. How many times does 8 go into 40? Madeline? 5. Yep. So 7/8, as it's written in decimal form, I'm going to have 0.875. 0.875. That is my answer. Okay, let's move on to example 2. Example 2. You can use a calculator to check. Yeah, I would check yourself with a calculator. Okay. So repeating decimals have a pattern in their digits that repeats without no end. So with some of those, like 1/3, it's going to go on forever with 1/3. Same thing with 1/6. You're going to have a repeating decimal forever. Bar notion is a bar or line placed over the digits that repeats. So the table, oh, yep. So that there's a table right below that that shows on page 122 that shows some examples of a repeating decimal. So the example of 1/6 is going to be 0.16, and there's going to be a bunch of 6s, so I'll just put a bar over that 6. So 0.16 repeating. So let's try an example of that in example 2. Because some problems aren't going to be as nice as example 1, how we just had 3 decimal spots. So letter A, we have 5/12. So like Madeline said, my 12 is going to be on the outside of my house. Put the 5 on the inside, add a 0, which means I'm going to have to add a decimal up here. So how many times does 12 go into 50? 4, 36, 48, so times 4. I have a remainder of 2 here. Add my 0. So how many times is 12 going to 20? Just once. I have a remainder of 8. So far, so good. Add my 0. 7, B, 7, 8, nope, 6, 8. I gotta look. Yeah, just times 6. And so from there, we would add another 0 because 6 times 12 is going to be 72. And we're going to have a remainder of 8 again, and that's just going to keep on repeating. So I'm going to put my bar over the top of my 6. That's going to be my answer. 0.416 repeating. Okay. So let's try that real world problem. I'll let you guys keep going with your homework. Oh, example 3. Example 3. So real world example, write a fraction as a decimal. According to the USDA, teenage boys should consume an average of 2,700 calories per day. About 360 of those calories should come from milk. To the nearest hundredth, what part of a teenage boy's total calories should come from milk? Okay, so to figure this out, we are going to take 360 because this is solving for a percentage. So 360, so let's see here. Whoops. 360 in here divided by 2,700. And yes, for this one, you can use your calculator. So right from the beginning, since 2,700 is bigger, we're gonna have to add a decimal. And yeah, from there you could, you're gonna see that it's gonna be 0.1 something, 0.1 something, 0.19. It's gonna be 0.13. So it's gonna be about 13% of your daily calories needs to come from milk, according to the USDA, for teenage boys, because I guess they're going to need more calcium for your growing bones. Oh, we do have one more example, 2 more examples. So let's try the example 4. Let's try example 4, and then I'll move on to the next math group. Example 4. Example 4. So compare fractions and decimals. Replace that dark circle with less than, greater than, or equal to make a true number sentence. So they gave us a fraction, so 1/2. My circle to see which one's greater than or less than or equal to 0.2. So we can either change the 1/4 or the 0.2. I'm going to change the 1/4 since that's what we've been doing. So I'm going to take 4 divided by 1, have my 0, my decimal. 4 goes into 10 twice. And 4 goes into 25 times. So I have 0.25 because it's 1/4. So 1/4 is greater than 0.2. 1/4 is greater than 0.2. Okay? All right. You guys can look at example 5, the real world example, on your own, because I want to get to other math group before, because we only have about 15 minutes of time left. So I'll let you guys continue with that. If you have questions, let me know.